Let's have a look. So, hello, my vacuum cleaner chums. Welcome to part 3 of helping HooverLux. I am down here, hello, but we need to concentrate on this because Dorian sent me a gift, which has a split side, but I'm hoping that's not going to be a massive issue. What has Mr. Dorian sent me? Well, it is directly to do with this junior. This is a spares machine. He picked this up in a job lot and didn't want it, so he sent it to me to see if we can get his one working well. What have we got? Well, we have a handle, we have an upper handle with the sofa, and a machine, which is actually in not too bad condition. What have we got? We have a U1040 from 1984. It is flat belt, most importantly of all. There is anything else in the box, so we can get rid of that and have a look at this briefly, to be honest, because there's only so much we need this for. Oh, that's a nice plug. Look at that chunky black plug. I think it does run. Yes, it does, very well indeed. So what we need from this is its armature. You can just see it nestling down there. We need the armature from this to go into the motor, because we need the coil from the other one, because obviously it's got the headlight. You see on this one, that is where the screw fixing for the headlit front cover would be. And I can't see, there's no cutout for the punt, for the hole that carries the wiring into the headlight. That's in good condition though, better than his one. What we're also going to pinch is the handle bail, because on his it doesn't work. On this it works very well indeed. So we have ourselves a parts machine. Should we see if we can get one working vacuum cleaner out of these? And then we can truly see where we stand, and I might be able to start the refurb. Let's have a look. So, I have some tools. I have a screwdriver and another screwdriver. And that's going, and a magazine to put dirty stuff on. And basically we're going to try and put the armature from this one into this motor and put that motor's original coil back in. So let's get started, and we'll start off by taking the screws out of the U1040 donor machine, which is actually a little bit different to the original one, in that the wiring cover is an integral part of the handle bail assembly by the looks of it, with these two screws at the back. Ah yes, the whole, the rear wheels are part of it, which is a bit different to this one, which has the rear wheels the usual junior way of just being screwed to the chassis. So we'll take this one off as well. This one's been desuppressed as well. Telephone. There we go. So, two naked machines. Now in theory actually, I don't need to remove the wheels from this one. I need to take off the, gosh, this is all different. I'll take the switch off, and then we'll undo the motor housing screws. So if this screwdriver is a bit bent, this isn't mine, so I'm using somebody else's bent screwdriver, which will hopefully do the job. Actually, this is handy that I've got this spares machine, because I can use the screws from it. If you remember, all the screws on this original one are stripped. So that's good. Come on. There we go. I should possibly also at this junction remove the cable. Otherwise this isn't going to pull out. I've had a replacement cable on it at some point. There we go. And in theory, the whole thing just lifts straight out. I'll just drop the screw. 2 screws. Lovely. So there we go. One flat belted with some damp on it, but it's been in the shed for a few days, so that's understandable. Hoover Junior motor. Right. Let's get this one out. And this one is a little bit more involved, because we have to take the cable off for a start. Which, come on. Okay, these screws have to come. No, they're not. I've just wrapped them really well around the screw head, so that's annoying, isn't it? Yeah. So, one cable off. There we go. 2 off. Take that out of the way. We've got to take the handle bail out on this one, because otherwise it gets in the way somewhat. So there's the rear wheels out. And the handle bail itself, which hopefully will not be needed soon, because I'm going to take the one from this. But that's for another day, I'll be honest. Right, now I've got to take the switch out, because this is wired up completely differently to that one. Oh, not that screw. Oh well. Never mind. We'll take this screw out as well. Oh, flip. The little doodah's just snapped off the cable. Not a big problem, if I'm being honest. We'll worry about that later. I can just tuck that under for now. Right, let's take the very rubbish screws out now. Oh, the firewall is plastic on this one, and metal on this one. That's going to make it a little bit interesting. I wonder if I can swap those round. We'll have to have a look at that another day. It means I can't use the screws. I've got to use these stripped out screws, sadly. Right, there we go. 2 motors out. Let's just get the missing screw for here just before I lose it completely. Right, so we have 2 motors, both of which need to be changed. So let me reposition you and we shall see what we can do. Right, here we go then. Now, this new motor seems to be fully comprised of spade connectors, which is rather handy. Right, we'll leave that. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way because I don't have any grips or anything else on me. So we'll take out the 3 motor screws. This one doesn't seem too filthy actually, whether it's been lightly used, I don't know. Hopefully that means that the armature is in fair condition, which it is. Excellent, right. So, there is the innards of our motor. We need to remove the 2 clamps that hold the bearings in and therefore hold the armature in. One there, one at the back. Like so. Then we'll unscrew the coil. But actually those screws could be quite handy. There we are. And then the whole thing should simply lift out. Like so. This is the piece that we are interested with. Looking at the blue tinge on that, this has a seized rear bearing, so it smells a little bit burny as well, but everything else on that is incredibly good. So we shall unscrew this from there. Take off the old oil bearings, and there is our flat belt armature, which we just need to hammer into this. So we'll take all the wiring off of here. I do have pictures to put this back together. Dorian did actually take pictures, which is excellent. You must always take pictures before you disassemble stuff, and he did. So I now have. No, come on. Oh, there you go. He didn't rotate his phone. Oh, he uses an iPhone. So even if he did, it wouldn't do anything. So yes, well, lovely Dorian. That is actually more handy than you might think, because I can't remember how this goes together, even though I've had it apart several times. Well, I take the carbons out of this one because we'll do it properly. There we go. Although actually, I wonder which ones are going to be better. Oh, blimey. Well, I think I know which carbons I'm going to be reusing. Don't you? Those ones are much better. Right, this one is a flathead affair. In fact, oh yeah, where are the little nuts? So this motor's got self-tappers as well. That's interesting. The one that we want to keep runs on nut and bolt design. The one that we're using for spares doesn't. Oh, we learn something new every day. Put those down there. Oh, in fact, this one's got a mixture. I must have not been too careful when I put it back together. Well, I say, this has been apart several times now, in slight anger. Why won't you just work? There we go. Keep these roughly apart. Now that's still warm. If you're watching this, I recorded the part 2 ending, you might see it was completely different to the rest of it before I did this in the garage. So this is still warm from running it like we did to show you how broken it still was. This is why I'm really hoping that it is the armature that has failed, which we'll find out soon. So we'll take that off there. We'll take these off here. Oh, in fact, let's release the other carbon brush. In fact, yes, because we need to take the yellow wire off to put the original coil back in, because we need the original coil, because the original coil holds the wiring for the headlight. Oh, come on. Lovely. I'm going to put as many crosshead screws back in, I think, as I can. One moment. I'm using a screwdriver that's far too small for this. Oh, I don't think I have another one at my disposal. And I'm going to put this on with a proper size one, so there we go. That's got, yeah. Unscrew the coil. It's quite handy that on the spares motor the coil screws are shorter, so it's obviously had a different type of mains RF suppressor on it. Which is good, because that means that I can use those screws and not this screw. Right, so we don't want that coil because it doesn't have what we want on it. We want that rear bearing because it is just better. And we want this front bearing because I think, yeah, because it is cleaner. I have greased it, I think. I did spray a little bit of lubrication in it. Not much, because although it's not going to come off. Does this one actually spin? If this one spins, we'll just reuse this one for now. Yeah, that's fine. So, old, hopefully broken coil. New, not broken coil. There is a small difference in both of them, but basically the only way we're ever going to find out is by putting the whole thing back together and seeing what happens. So that spins at the very least. We can't ask for much more. We'll pop the coil that hopefully works. If this doesn't work, then we have another problem, because we do need a motor that should have had a headlight on it. So we'll hope it works. We'll pop the nicer Phillips screws back in. With that, I need to, before we go too far, put the fan back on, because I don't have the means to clamp it when this is in. We'll put the metal fan back on because they're just nice. So we'll put the metal, well, I say metal, they're different, so I'm going to stick with the original one. Try and keep this as original as possible. Okay, right, where were we? Oh, worried me for a second. The bearing bracket spun round and is holding it up and off. There we go. It all needs to be screwed down really for it to clamp itself. So we'll screw this one down. I had got another one, but that's gone, so we'll screw this one down. And we shall put the coil screws back in. Well, that still spins really, really well, so hopefully we might be on to a winner. Or it's all going to fall apart in my face. We shall find out. Now, where is... I need this little nut to go here. Come on, spin on your sod. There we go. Still spins marvellous. Let's pop. We'll use the better carbon brushes. We need to put this one in first because, well, we just do. Because this one is covered by the housing. Once it's on, oh yes, I forgot about, I've got to feed the carbon brush tab under because it's from the older, from the third style of motor housing actually. So we've got the original style like this, which has the carbon holders screwed on. We've got the middle style, which is which have those horrible spring clips that I think I did break, although they were awful anyway. And then in fact this one's got the spring clips as well. So there we go. But this one has a self-tapping, there's no nuts holding it in. So there we go, 3 different types of junior motor that I have now experienced, although it all depends on what you normally use, I think. So I need to feed both now of these cables through. There we go. Oh, we're not spinning very well. Oh, what are we catching on? I think... Oh, well, I need to screw this together really, I think, because that may or may not actually be a problem. Because the housing might need to be square. That screw doesn't go in there. This is something I found as well. The flipping screws are different lengths that hold the fan housing, the motor housing together. That takes some getting used to. Now, I hope my hunch is right. Which one's better? I reckon that one's going to go in there. Yep. It is. That's the wrong nut, I think. Oh, there we go, that's the right nut. Am I going to regret not sticking another spacer in this? Worry about that another day, because I'll be honest, as long as it fires up and runs, even if it is rubbing on the fan, I've got many other spacers that we can put in This is just to test that it runs. Obviously, once it runs, it can be fully refurbished, and we can go from there. If that's all that's doing, I'm going to just leave it well alone, I think. It spins, therefore it is. Right, I'm going to pause because this is going to get very long and wire this up, and then we shall put it back into the machine. So, a couple of days later, as I ran out of lunchtime, the day that we got this working, spoiler alert, the day that we sorted the motor out on it in the hope of getting it working. Did it actually work though? Yes, it did. Although, do ignore that noise of the motor, because I do need to put an extra spacer on the fan. All that was just to check that it span, which it does. So, the next thing we've got to do, which I'm not going to film, is get it all looking lovely again. Yes, indeed. If I take you off of here, there we go. We've got polishing to do. I would say we've got painting to do, but I might not paint that because literally that is the only bit of damage on it. We shall see. But yes, we've got to prettify it, beautify it, fix the handle. Mr. HooverLux has a few other little bits and pieces for me to do. And then I need to decide whether I'm going to show it to you afterwards or him. And I'll be honest, it's probably going to be him. So I'll sign this video off now by saying thank you very much for watching and goodbye. And this will be the last you see of it from me. And hopefully in a couple of weeks' time, Mr. Dorian, jolly Welsh chap he is, will be happily showing this to you all refurbished and lovely. Or it'll all go horribly wrong and we'll never see it again. No, that won't happen. So, from my part of this collaboration bit, helping HooverLux, thank you very much for watching and goodbye.